Hi, I'm Daniel Gold, and welcome to the Leadership Lab. By day, I'm a partner at BDO USA, but this podcast is my personal project, completely separate and apart from my day job, but it reflects the same passion that I exhibit everywhere for teaching, mentoring, and helping others succeed through simple, impactful lessons. It is my hope that you'll walk away with practical takeaways to help you on your leadership journey. Thanks for being a part of the community and for joining me in the Leadership Lab. Let's get started. Success can blind you to failure. The moment you think you have mastered leadership is exactly when everything starts falling apart. Now, I didn't learn this in a boardroom. Interestingly enough, I learned it during mile 6 of my 10-mile run, when everything felt fine, but everything was actually breaking down. Let me back into that. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, I was introduced to running during a virtual hobby share at work. My team's passion for it caught me at the right time. My doctor had just told me I needed to make changes, all the typical stuff, diet, exercise, something. I blocked it all out. But what my team was talking about wasn't a lecture that moved me to action. It was listening to these project managers explain their step-by-step methodic approach to 101 for runners. They treated running like a system, milestones, measurements, and motivation. It's not surprising because they are project managers. And so I followed it. I listened. And I went out there a quarter of a mile, then a half a mile, then a full mile. I bought the right shoes. I used the right app. And with every step, I was literally building discipline. When I crossed the finish line of my first 5K, that wasn't just a milestone. It was a defining moment for me personally, and then it bled into my professional life. It was a moment that reshaped how I lead. I committed right there to a 3-year moonshot, complete a full marathon. And since then, I've hit my objectives, and my key results are OKRs like clockwork. First a 10K, then a half marathon. Next year, the big one. And with every milestone, I celebrate. And after celebrating, I didn't let it linger there in the moment. I reset, I refocused, and I prepared myself for the next starting line, ready to tackle the next challenge with a renewed sense of determination. And that's a rhythm. In this rhythm, train, execute, celebrate, reset, is not just about running. It's about achieving a balance between effort and rest. It's a strategic approach that ensures that high-performing leaders create sustainable momentum, always in control of their journey. But then there was mile 6. In mile 6 of any long run, something dangerous happens. You start coasting. And it's not intentional. And it's not obvious. But the autopilot starts to kick in. The pace holds steady. So I assume I'm good. But inside, my form is slipping. My cadence is dropping. My body is losing its efficiency. And I don't even realize it because I'm not paying attention. And that's what makes coasting dangerous. Everything feels fine. But it isn't. That's when breakdowns begin, not with a crash, but with a quiet erosion. And leadership is literally no different. You scale your business, revenue is up, your team has grown, you pause to take pride in what you've built, and from a distance, everything looks great. So you start to coast. You stop actively seeking feedback. You become less involved in team meetings, and you may even start delegating more without providing the necessary support and guidance and expectations. And just like in a long run, you stop noticing what's falling apart. The team stops talking to you, or worse, starts talking about you. Resentment builds, trust erodes, but your metrics, they're holding, so you assume everything is fine. Until one day, it isn't. In running, we refer to the sudden crash as bonking. In leadership, it looks like team burnout, declining morale, poor client outcomes, and quiet quitting. Smart runners check their watches mid-run. Smart leaders monitor employee satisfaction surveys like vital signs of life for the team. When those scores start dropping, don't dismiss them as noise from a few disgruntled, replaceable cogs in the system. That language alone tells you everything about why you're about to bonk as a leader. Employee satisfaction rates drop dramatically, impacting the work that they do for clients. Client satisfaction follows, revenue inevitably follows, but by then you've already crashed. And here's the strategic reality. Today's workforce, particularly younger generations, want to feel welcomed to make a difference. They want to be true partners in success, not factory components. This isn't 1980s command and control management. This is the era of servant leadership, a leadership style that focuses on serving others, including employees, customers, and the community, rather than traditional top-down approach. When you ignore this shift, you're not just missing a trend, you're also missing an opportunity. You're missing the fundamental change in how high performance gets created and, of course, sustained. When you ignore this shift, you're not just missing a trend, you're also missing an opportunity. You're missing the fundamental change in how high performance gets created and gets sustained. If you are coasting, or you are at the risk of it, here's how to rebuild your rhythm. First, always celebrate first before fixing anything. Celebrate what got you here. Always find time to acknowledge progress with your team. These aren't feel-good extras, they're strategic recovery periods that prepare everyone for what's next. Take that moment after the smile, after the team celebration of mini wins to recover and get ready for the next starting line. Second, check your real metrics, employee engagement scores, retention rates, authentic team feedback. These matter more than revenue numbers that might be riding on momentum from past decisions. What got you here won't get you where you need to go next. Let me say that one more time because it's so important. What got you here will not get you where you need to go next. 3, create collaborative goals. Set stretch goals with your team, not for your team. Build ownership in the outcome. The difference between good leaders and great ones is not strategy. It is the emotional intelligence, like we talked about last time on the Gold Standard Leadership Lab, to recognize when you need to adapt and the discipline to involve others in creating the path forward. Leadership is exactly like running. It requires discipline, planning, and the self-awareness to recognize when you're coasting toward a bonk. And here's the thing. Your team is watching your form. They are watching your cadence. And they are watching your commitment or lack thereof to the discipline that brought you this far. They are ready to run alongside you, but only if you demonstrate the mindfulness to stay connected to what actually drives performance. So the next time you're tempted to coast, stop. Celebrate that last win. Check your employees' satisfaction scores. Reset with your team as partners and get ready to run again. Because the question isn't whether you can lead. The question is whether you have the discipline to keep leading when success tempts you to coast. And remember, leadership isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Take this lesson, put it into action, and continue setting the gold standard in your own life and at work. See you next time.